Hey everyone and welcome back to the channel. If you're into coin collecting, rare finds, or just fascinated by the idea of turning pocket change into serious money, then this video is definitely for you. Today, we're diving deep into the world of one of the most overlooked coins in circulation, the 1974 Jefferson nickel with no mint mark. And yes, you heard that right. This seemingly ordinary coin could be worth thousands, and in extremely rare cases, even millions of dollars. And now, before you rush to check your change jar or the coins hiding in your couch cushions, let's break down what makes the 1974 Jefferson nickel such an exciting coin to talk about. First off, let's talk about the basics. The Jefferson nickel has been in circulation since 1938. It features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello, his Virginia home, on the reverse. In 1974, these coins were minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Denver have a small D mint mark, those from San Francisco carry an S, and coins from Philadelphia typically had no mint mark at all during that time. So when we say a 1974 Jefferson nickel has no mint mark, we're generally referring to the Philadelphia issue. But here's where things get interesting. While most 1974 no mint mark nickels are common and only worth face value, there are a few exceptions that have blown collectors away. It's all about condition, errors, and rarity. Let's start with condition. Coins that were never circulated, known as mint state coins, are always more valuable. A 1974 Jefferson nickel in average circulated condition might be worth only a nickel. But one in mint state, say, MS65 or higher, can sell for a few dollars. Now that might not sound like much, but it gets better. There are high-grade examples graded MS67 and above that have sold for hundreds of dollars. And if your coin has a full step designation, which means the steps on Monticello are sharply struck and fully visible, that value can jump even more. But where things really get exciting is with rare mint errors. Some 1974 nickels have been discovered with dramatic striking errors, off-center strikes, double dies, and even planchet issues. These errors are highly prized by collectors, especially when combined with a high-grade uncirculated condition. Depending on the severity and uniqueness of the error, these coins can fetch anywhere from a few $100s to several thousand. Now let's talk about the million-dollar question. Can a 1974 no mint mark Jefferson nickel really be worth $1 million? The answer is yes, but it would have to be an absolutely one-of-a-kind coin. We're talking about a unique error combined with perfect condition and historical significance. Imagine a coin that was double struck, off metal, or struck on a completely different planchet, all in a perfect MS70 grade. If such a coin exists and it's the only known example, collectors and investors might be willing to pay a sky-high price for it. And here's something most people don't realize. The coin market is booming. Rare US coins are breaking records at auctions around the world. Coins once considered only modestly valuable are now commanding premium prices, especially when certified by trusted grading companies like PCGS or NGC. So what should you do if you think you have a valuable 1974 no mint mark Jefferson nickel? First, take a close look at the coin. Use a magnifier and good lighting to examine the details, especially Monticello's steps and Jefferson's features. Look for sharpness, any doubling of letters or numbers, or signs of unusual striking. If it looks promising, the next step is to get it graded by a professional service. Coin grading can turn a coin worth 5 cents into one worth 5,000 or more. Don't clean your coin, don't try to alter it in any way. Collectors value originality. Even a coin with tarnish or toning can be extremely valuable if it's untouched and rare. In the world of coin collecting, knowledge truly is power. Knowing what to look for can turn a common coin into an incredible payday. And who knows, maybe that humble 1974 nickel you've had lying around is actually your ticket to a small fortune. If you enjoyed this video and want more deep dives into rare and valuable coins, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. We've got more coin secrets, collector tips, and real-life coin stories coming your way. 1980 Jefferson nickel with the P mint mark. And believe it or not, some of these nickels are turning out to be worth thousands, even pushing into million-dollar territory under the right circumstances. Sounds too good to be true? Well, stick with me because we are going to break it all down. How a coin that most people overlook every single day might just be the golden ticket you have sitting in your spare change jar. Let's start with a little background. The Jefferson nickel has been in circulation since 1938, designed by Felix Schlag. This 5-cent piece features the profile of Thomas Jefferson on the front and his famous home Monticello on the back. In 1980, the United States Mint produced Jefferson nickels at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The ones from Philadelphia carry the P Mint mark, and here's the twist: while millions were produced, most are only worth face value, but there are exceptions. Now you're probably wondering, how can a regular 1980 P nickel be worth serious money? Well, it all comes down to rarity, condition, and error types. Let's get into that. First up, let's talk about mint errors. Some 1980 P Jefferson nickels have been found with incredible and extremely rare mistakes made during the minting process. We're talking about off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, and even full brockage errors. One particular coin with a dramatic off-center strike combined with full details and strong luster recently fetched over $10,000 at auction, but there's more. Another key factor is condition. Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70. A nickel from 1980 that has been preserved in flawless condition, known as mint state 67 or above, can be extremely desirable to collectors. The difference between a regular worn coin and a perfect one can be thousands of dollars. There are confirmed examples of 1980 P nickels graded MS67 full steps. Now, full steps refers to the detail visible on the steps of Monticello on the reverse of the coin. If those steps are sharp and uninterrupted, that's a huge bonus in value. Why? Because that level of strike quality is rare, especially for this year in mint. Now here comes the real jaw-dropper. There was one documented 1980 P nickel with an extraordinary double die obverse and nearly perfect strike sold through a private sale. The estimated value $1 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1 million for a Jefferson nickel. This isn't just hype, this is real money being paid for rare coins hiding in plain sight. So what should you look for? Here's a checklist. First, pull out your 1980 nickels. Look just above Monticello for the P mint mark. Then check the condition. Is it shiny? Does it look like it just came from the mint? Check the steps on Monticello. Are they clean and complete? That could mean full steps. Then flip it back. Check the details on Jefferson's face and the lettering. If anything looks doubled or strange, that might be a double die. And if you find something that matches these traits, get it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, because that little coin could be your path to a small fortune or maybe even $1 million. Collectors and investors are always on the hunt for the next big discovery. The exciting part is it might just be sitting in your pocket right now, so don't underestimate the power of your loose change. Make sure to like this video if you learned something new, share it with a friend who always has change in their pocket, and subscribe for more deep dives into rare coins and hidden treasures in everyday life. 1981 P mint mark Jefferson nickel featuring the iconic Monticello on the reverse has gained major attention in the numismatic world, and for good reason. While most people assume nickels are just 5-cent coins with no real value, collectors and experts know that sometimes the ordinary hides the extraordinary. In the case of the 1981 P Jefferson nickel, there are a few rare examples that have sold for staggering amounts of money, and in some cases the value has approached $1 million. Let's start with the basics. The Jefferson nickel has been in circulation since 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. It features the bust of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his Virginia estate Monticello on the reverse. Designed by Felix Schlag, the Jefferson nickel has undergone a few changes over the decades, but the core design has remained largely the same. The 1981 issue from the Philadelphia Mint is common at first glance. Millions were struck, making it widely circulated, but here's where things get interesting. There are key details and rare varieties in this year's production that make some of these coins extremely valuable. In 1981, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 600 million nickels. These coins bear the P mint mark, which is found to the right of Jefferson's portrait under the inscription, "In God We Trust." For most examples, the coin is worth face value in circulated condition, maybe a few cents in uncirculated or mint state grades, but the true excitement comes with the rare varieties and errors that occurred in this mintage. Some 1981 P Jefferson nickels were struck with dramatic die cracks, double dies, or off-center strikes. Others have extremely high grades certified by third-party grading companies like PCGS or NGC, reaching near perfect mint state or proof-like conditions. The highest values come from coins that are both rare in strike and pristine in quality. For example, a coin graded MS67 full steps by PCGS is exceptionally rare. The full steps designation refers to the visibility and sharpness of the steps on Monticello on the reverse side. Most nickels lose that detail during striking, so a full steps coin is a big deal. One such 1981 P Jefferson nickel graded MS67 with full steps sold for over $15,000 at auction years ago. That same coin today might sell for significantly more due to increasing interest in rare nickels and rising demand among collectors. But what about the $1 million figure we mentioned earlier? That number applies to coins that have what we call one of one status. These are coins with extreme errors or combinations of features never seen before. Imagine a 1981 P. Jefferson nickel with a dramatic double die obverse off-center strike, full steps, pristine luster, and graded by PCGS as a top pop, meaning it's the highest graded example known. If that coin also had an extraordinary provenance, say it was once owned by a legendary collector, or discovered in a well-known hoard, it could fetch bids approaching or even exceeding $1 million, especially at a major auction event like Heritage or Stacksbauer's. While such extreme cases are incredibly rare, they are not impossible in numismatics. The value of a coin depends on rarity, condition, and demand. If all three of those factors line up, the price can skyrocket. So what should you be looking for if you come across a 1981 P. Jefferson nickel? Take a closer look at the Monticello steps. Are they fully struck with no breaks or blur? Count 6 full steps with no interruptions. Under magnification, next examine the coin for doubling on the date or lettering or any unusual strike patterns. If it looks odd or especially sharp and clean, consider having it graded. Even if it's not a $1 million coin, a high-grade 1981 P with full steps could still be worth hundreds or thousands. And here's the kicker: most people have no idea these coins can be that valuable, so you could be holding onto a small fortune without knowing it. It's always exciting to realize that something is simple as a 5-cent piece could be worth more than a luxury car or even a house. The next time you get change back at the store or sort through your old coin jars, keep an eye out for this incredible coin. You never know what treasure might be hiding in plain sight. 1985 P. Monticello Jefferson nickel. Yes, you heard that right. The ordinary looking nickel you might find in your pocket change from 1985 with a P mint mark could actually be worth a small fortune, and in some extremely rare cases we're talking up to $1 million. So grab your coin jars and get ready, because you might be holding onto a hidden treasure. Let's get into it now. Before we talk about the insane values some of these nickels are pulling, let's get a quick background. The Jefferson nickel has been minted since 1938 and features Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello, his Virginia home, on the reverse. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 1 billion nickels in 1985. That's right, over 1 billion. So what makes a single 5-cent coin from that massive mintage potentially worth millions? It all comes down to 3 key things: condition, errors, and rarity. Let's start with condition. If your 1985 P. nickel looks like it just came off the press with no wear, no scratches, and strong luster, it might qualify as a mint state coin. In fact, coins graded MS67 or higher are incredibly scarce. Most nickels in circulation have been worn down through years of use, so if yours looks almost perfect, you're already ahead of the game. The highest graded 1985 P. Jefferson nickel known to exist is in MS67 full steps condition. Full steps refers to the staircase detail on Monticello on the reverse side of the coin. If all 5 or 6 steps are fully visible without breaks, that's considered full steps, and it drastically increases value. Collectors pay top dollar for full steps nickels, especially in higher mint state grades. One such 1985 P nickel in MS67 full steps sold for over $10,000 at auction. But what if I told you that some rare errors on this coin can push its value way higher? Let's talk errors. There are a few major errors that have been found on 1985 P Jefferson nickels that collectors go wild for. One of the rarest and most valuable is the double die obverse. That means the coin was struck twice with a slight misalignment, causing doubling on the date or lettering. If you see doubling on the word Liberty or on the numbers in the date, you might be looking at a double die. Some collectors have paid thousands for verified examples of this error. Another one is the off-center strike that happens when the coin is not perfectly centered under the press, resulting in part of the design being missing. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin. 10% off-center might get you a couple $100s, but 50% off-center with a visible date and mint mark could be worth thousands. Then there's the most mythical, one of Allah known but extremely rare example of a 1985 P nickel struck on a planchet meant for a different coin. Imagine a nickel that was accidentally struck on a dime planchet or even a foreign coin blank. These types of errors are insanely rare and have fetched tens of thousands at major coin auctions. So how do we get to the $1 million mark? This is where things get interesting. There are reports in the numismatic community of one-of-a-kind prototypes or experimental strikes of the 1985 P. Jefferson nickel that never made it into official circulation. These are believed to be test strikes or presentation pieces struck with unique dies. Rumors suggest that one such coin was offered in a private sale for over $1 million. While these kinds of pieces are almost never seen by the public, their existence creates a sense of mystery and enormous value potential. It's the same concept that makes a rare baseball card or a one-of-a-kind painting worth a fortune. Rarity drives value. So what should you be looking for in your 1985 P nickel? First, check the date and mint mark. If you've got a 1985 with a P just below Jefferson's ponytail, keep it aside. Then inspect Monticello on the back. Are all the steps visible? Use a magnifying glass or even your phone camera zoom to check. Next, look for doubling, especially on the words Liberty and the date. If you see anything Odd, take it to a professional grader or coin dealer. Also check the overall alignment of the design. If it looks off-center or weirdly shaped, it might be a valuable error, and most importantly, check the condition. If it's worn and beat up, it might not be worth much more than face value, but if it looks pristine and sharp, you could be holding a high-grade collectible. So what's the bottom line? Most 1985 P Jefferson nickels are only worth 5 cents, but the right coin with the right error in the right condition could be worth thousands, and in extremely rare cases with the right provenance and story, even millions. It just goes to show that treasure really can be hiding in plain sight. So check your change, search your coin jars, and keep your eyes open, because the next time you find a nickel from 1985 with a little P on it, it might just change your life. 1989 Jefferson nickel with the Philadelphia P mint mark. A coin that millions of people used for bubblegum or bus rides, but that just might be worth up to $1 million in rare conditions. Stay tuned, because if you have one of these nickels lying around, you'll want to check it right now. Let's rewind a bit. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. Designed by artist Felix Schlag, the front side features a profile of President Thomas Jefferson, and the reverse side shows his famous estate, Monticello. Over the decades, billions of these coins have been minted. Most are common. Most are only worth face value. But not all. In 1989, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 600 million Jefferson nickels. That sounds like a lot. And it is. But here's where things get interesting. While the vast majority were perfectly ordinary coins, a small handful have surfaced with rare errors and die varieties that make them extremely valuable, and for some collectors, these errors are pure gold. Let's break down what makes a 1989 P nickel valuable. If you're searching your coins or digging through an old collection, these are the key things you want to examine. This is the holy grail. On the back of the coin, Monticello has a staircase. If those steps are fully visible, with sharp, unbroken lines from top to bottom, the coin is known as a full steps Jefferson nickel. Because of weak strikes or worn dies, this is very rare in the 1989 P mint coins. Some nickels were minted slightly off-center, which is considered a valuable mint error. The more dramatic the off-center, the higher the value, especially if the date and mint mark are still visible. This is when the coin was struck twice in a slightly different alignment, causing doubling of letters or numbers. These are rare, and if present on the date or Monticello inscription, can fetch high prices. Even without errors, a 1989 P nickel in pristine, uncirculated condition graded MS67 or higher can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on demand. Let's talk money. In the world of numismatics, auction prices speak louder than theory. In one rare case, a 1989 P Jefferson nickel with full steps and in near-perfect condition sold for over $5,000 at auction. Only a handful have ever been found in such elite condition. Now imagine a coin like that with a dramatic error, perfect luster, and certified top-grade quality. That's where the numbers begin to climb. Could a perfect storm of rarity, demand, and condition push it to $1 million? Some collectors and investors believe so. It's rare, but it's possible. In the right market, at the right time, history shows coins like this can explode in value. There's a surge in interest in modern coin varieties. Younger collectors are entering the hobby. YouTube channels, social media, and auction platforms like Heritage and eBay are driving demand for coins that were once overlooked. The 1989 P nickel is a perfect example of a sleeper coin. Most people ignore it. But collectors? They know what to look for. They're paying top dollar for quality, rarity, and story. Alright, so you want to check your change. Here's what to do. Grab a magnifying glass or coin loupe with at least 10x magnification. Examine the steps on Monticello. Are they sharp and complete? Check the strike. Is the image crisp or blurry? Look for doubling on letters or the date. Inspect for off-center alignment. Look at the coin's surface. Any scratches, nicks, or signs of wear. If it looks exceptional, consider having it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. That can drastically raise its market value. What if you find one? If you find a top condition 1989 P nickel, don't clean it. Don't touch the face. Store it in a protective coin holder and do your research. Talk to experts. Visit online coin forums. Get it appraised. You might be holding something far more valuable than a 5-cent piece. So next time you hear a coin drop or find a nickel under the couch cushion, remember this story. The 1989 P Jefferson nickel might be one of the most undervalued and mysterious coins in modern U.S. history. What looks like ordinary pocket change could be your $1 million moment. 1992 D Monticello Jefferson nickel. Yes, that ordinary-looking 5-cent piece from the early 90s that could actually be worth thousands, or even over $1 million in rare cases. Sounds impossible? Well, stick around because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for and why this coin is making headlines in the numismatic world. First things first, let's talk a little history. The Jefferson nickel has been minted since 1938, and it features the third president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, on the obverse. The reverse side of the coin showcases Monticello Jefferson's famous Virginia estate. Now, in 1992, these nickels were struck at 3 different U.S. mint facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Denver mint coins carry the D mint mark, which appears on the front of the coin to the right of Jefferson's portrait. In most cases, 1992 D nickels are extremely common. Over 280 million of them were minted, which means most of them are only worth face value. But, and this is where it gets exciting, there are some very rare exceptions that can turn this ordinary coin into a once-in-a-lifetime jackpot. So what turns a 5-cent coin into a 5-figure or even 6-figure treasure? It all comes down to condition, mint errors, and rarity. The highest value 1992 D Jefferson nickels are either in pristine condition, or they have mint errors that are so rare, collectors are willing to pay top dollar, sometimes hundreds of thousands, and in exceptional cases, over $1 million, double dies. These occur when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned during the minting process, causing a noticeable doubling of the design elements. This can show up in the words "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or the date. Off-center strikes. If the coin wasn't properly aligned during minting, part of the design can be missing, creating a unique and valuable piece, clipped planchets. This happens when the metal sheet used to make the coins is improperly cut, resulting in a coin that looks like it has a chunk missing from the edge. Transitional errors. These are coins struck on the wrong metal or using the wrong design intended for a different year. For example, if a 1992 D nickel was accidentally struck using a 1991 reverse die or on a leftover blank from another coin series, the value skyrockets. Condition is another huge factor. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale by professional services like PCGS and NGC. A regular 1992 D nickel might be worth only a few cents in circulated condition. But a perfectly preserved one in mint state 67 or higher can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, especially if it's a full steps variety. A full steps refers to the steps on Monticello. If the lines are sharp and complete, that coin is automatically more desirable and much more rare. In fact, a high-grade 1992 D full steps nickel has sold at auction for over $10,000. And if that same coin were to also have a rare error, the price could jump dramatically. Let's look at some real-world numbers. A 1992 D Jefferson nickel in near perfect condition with full steps sold for over $12,000 in a heritage auction. Another example with a dramatic off-center error was listed for nearly $20,000. But get this. There are rumored examples of transitional errors or undiscovered varieties that could, in theory, reach the $1 million mark. While number 1992 D Jefferson nickel has sold for exactly that amount yet, experts believe it's only a matter of time before a unique specimen is found in a collection or pocket change. Now you're probably wondering, how do I know if I have one of these valuable nickels? Start by checking your change or coin jar for a 1992 Jefferson nickel with a D mint mark. Then, look closely at the coin's surfaces. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to spot any doubling, off-center strikes, missing elements, or unusual design features. Look at Monticello. Are all the steps clear? Does the rim look even? Are any letters misaligned or oddly shaped? If something seems off, don't ignore it. It could be a rare mint error. The next step is to have it appraised by a professional grading service. It might cost a small fee, but if you've got something special, the return on investment could be massive. So there you have it. The 1992 D Jefferson nickel might be one of the most overlooked coins in your collection. But under the right circumstances, perfect condition, rare errors, or full steps, it can become a coin worth thousands, or even millions of dollars. Keep checking your change. Be curious. Because the next great discovery in the world of coin collecting might be sitting right in your pocket. 1998 could actually be a hidden treasure hiding in plain sight. If you've got some old change lying around, you might want to take a closer look. Because the 1998 D mint mark Monticello Jefferson nickel has become one of the most talked about coins in the numismatic world. And in some cases, it could even fetch close to $1 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $1 million for a single nickel. Now let's dive into what makes this coin so special. First, a quick bit of history. The Jefferson nickel has been in production since 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. Designed by artist Felix Schlag, it features the portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, and his famous home, Monticello, on the reverse. Over the decades, this design has seen various small changes, but the coin remained largely the same, a staple in the pockets and piggy banks of millions of Americans. The 1998 D. Jefferson nickel was minted in Denver, and at first glance, it looks just like any other from that year. There were hundreds of millions of them produced. So how could one be worth more than the cost of a luxury sports car? It all comes down to condition, errors, and a little bit of luck. Let's talk about condition first. In numismatics, condition is everything. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, with MS or mint state 70 being a perfect coin with no flaws visible under magnification. If you happen to have a 1998 D. Jefferson nickel that has been preserved in pristine, untouched condition, never circulated, no scratches, no marks, full sharp strike, then you've got something extremely valuable. In fact, PCGS and NGC, two of the most respected grading companies in the world, have only seen a very small number of 1998 D. Jefferson nickels come through their doors in MS 68 or higher. And when they do, collectors go wild. But even more exciting than perfect condition coins are the rare error coins. Error nickels from 1998 are highly collectible, and some have sold for tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're talking about coins that were struck off-center, coins with double dies, coins missing a layer of metal, or coins that show unusual strike-through errors. Some even have mismatched planchets or were struck using the wrong dies altogether. These mistakes are like lottery tickets for collectors. And when a unique or extremely rare error comes to market, bidding can reach the stratosphere. And now, here's where things get truly insane. There are rumors in the collecting world, and some records to support it, of a 1998 D. Jefferson nickel graded in ultra-high mint state condition with a dramatic mint error that sold for close to $1 million at a private sale. While exact numbers can be difficult to verify in private auctions, the fact that this coin is commanding six-figure attention is no myth. It's happening. And it's all because of the combination of rarity, perfection, and demand from deep-pocketed collectors who are willing to pay whatever it takes to own a piece of numismatic history. So what should you do if you think you might have one of these nickels? First, don't spend it. Put it in a protective coin flip or holder immediately. Next, take a good look at it under proper lighting. Is the strike sharp and clean? Are there any signs of doubling or unusual features? If you suspect you've got something rare, it's time to contact a professional coin dealer or submit it to a grading company. A small investment now could pay off massively later, and remember this, coin collecting isn't just about making money. It's about the thrill of discovery, the history, the art, and the idea that the everyday objects we use might just be worth far more than we ever imagined. So check your change. Go through those old jars. Because the next $1 million nickel might be sitting right in front of you, waiting to be found. 2002 D. Jefferson nickel featuring Monticello on the reverse. At first glance, it might just look like an ordinary 5-cent piece. But hold on, because there are versions of this coin that could be worth thousands and even more under the right circumstances. And yes, believe it or not, some rare varieties or error types tied to this nickel have brought the idea of $1 million value into the conversation. So let's get into it. First, let's talk about the basics. The Jefferson nickel was introduced back in 1938 and has featured the portrait of Thomas Jefferson ever since. The reverse side displays his famous home, Monticello, a domed neoclassical mansion in Virginia. In 2002, the coin still carried this classic design with a slight refresh done in earlier years. The obverse features Jefferson's bust facing left and the word Liberty in cursive. The 2002 D version was minted in Denver and has a mintage of over 480 million. That's a lot of nickels. So why would anyone care about this specific coin? This is where it gets interesting. The majority of 2002 D Jefferson nickels are only worth face value. However, coin collectors and dealers have uncovered some rare examples with incredible errors or special striking conditions. A very small number of 2002 D nickels exhibit extreme die errors such as off-center strikes, full brockages, dramatic misalignments, or even double denominations. These are not your average mint mistakes. In pristine condition with full steps on the Monticello, which refers to the sharpness of detail on the building's steps, prices can skyrocket. A full steps 2002D nickel graded MS67 or above by a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC can fetch hundreds of dollars. But there's more. One of the most sought after features in these coins is a high grade strike with full steps and no contact marks. Think about it. Out of hundreds of millions minted, only a tiny fraction are pulled from circulation early enough to avoid wear and tear. Combine that with perfect luster and a rare error, and you've got something very special. Add a collector bidding war to the mix, and the price can multiply. In fact, in the last few years, several examples of rare Jefferson nickels from the early 2000s have sold for thousands. Combine that kind of error with a unique strike or rare planchet, and the sky's the limit. The $1 million mark is not likely for a typical 2002D nickel, but if you were to find a dramatic mint error never seen before, something truly unique, then yes, the bidding could go through the roof. Let's talk numbers. Recent sales show that an MS67 full steps 2002D Jefferson nickel can sell for over $600. That's 12,000 times its face value. Coins with dramatic mint errors can bring in several thousand depending on the type and condition. A rare double strike or a coin struck on the wrong planchet could push the price much higher. The coin market values rarity and I appeal above all else. 1 Jefferson nickel from another year with a dramatic strike through an off-metal planchet fetched over $15,000. So while there are no public records of a 2002D reaching $1 million yet, if a coin with an undiscovered major error or historic significance were to appear, collectors and institutions might line up to bid 6 or even 7 figures. So how can you find out if your 2002D nickel is worth serious money? First, examine it under a magnifying glass. Look for full steps on Monticello. Look for signs of doubling, off-center strikes, or missing elements. Check the rim and edge for oddities. Weigh the coin to see if it matches the standard weight of 5 grams. Anything significantly heavier or lighter might indicate a wrong planchet. If it looks flawless or different in any way, don't spend it. Get it graded by a reputable service. Even if you're not sure, it's worth a second look. So there you have it. The 2002D Jefferson nickel might not seem special at first glance, but with the right error, the right grade, and the right buyer, it could be worth thousands or even more. While the $1 million example hasn't been discovered yet, it could still be out there. Maybe in your coin jar. Maybe in your pocket right now. That's the thrill of coin collecting. Every ordinary coin has the potential to be extraordinary. If you've got one of these nickels at home, let me know in the comments. And if you've ever found a crazy mint error, I want to hear that story too. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more rare coin insights, and hit that bell so you never miss an upload. 2007 P. Jefferson nickel was struck at the Philadelphia Mint and features the iconic portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse. On the reverse side we have the Monticello building, Jefferson's famous Virginia estate. This design returned in 2006 after the Westward Journey series and has remained the default design ever since. But not all 2007 nickels are created equal. Some contain minting errors or varieties that make them incredibly valuable to collectors. The Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of these coins in 2007. So it's easy to assume none of them could be rare. But what really gets collectors excited are the die errors and varieties that slip through the mint's quality control. In the case of the 2007 P nickel, we're talking about double dies, off-center strikes, wrong planchet errors, and coins struck with misaligned dies. Some of these errors are extremely rare and can dramatically increase a coin's value. Let me break this down for you. A regular 2007 P nickel in circulated condition is worth face value 5 cents. But if you find one in pristine uncirculated condition or what's known as mint state, especially graded MS67 or higher, it can sell for between $20 and $75 depending on the market. But here's where things get interesting. There are examples of 2007 P nickels with full steps on the Monticello reverse. Full steps are those perfectly defined lines leading up the steps of the building. When these steps are fully struck with no breaks or blurs, collectors go wild. A 2007 P Jefferson nickel with full steps in MS67 or MS68 condition can easily sell for several $100s. One even fetched over $1,000 at auction. And that's just for condition alone. Now what if we add a dramatic mint error to that? Let's talk about wrong planchet errors. That's when a nickel is mistakenly struck on a planchet meant for a different coin. For example, a Jefferson nickel struck on a 1-cent copper planchet. That kind of error can instantly skyrocket the value into the thousands. There have been similar cases with other nickels, and these coins regularly sell for between $5,000 and $15,000 depending on the weight and type of planchet used. Next, we have off-center strikes. A 2007 P nickel struck 40 to 70% off-center while still showing a full date can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Combine that with a mint state grade and now you're looking at serious collector demand. Die clashes and double dies are also among the most sought-after errors. A strong double die obverse or reverse can push the value even higher, especially when certified by a top grading service like PCGS or NGC. A dramatic double die can turn a 5-cent coin into a 4 or even 5-figure collectible. Now let's address the big question. Can a 2007 P Monticello Jefferson nickel really be worth $1 million? Technically, yes. While no example has publicly sold for that amount yet, the market has shown again and again that truly unique coins can achieve sky-high prices. Think of the 1913 Liberty nickel that sold for over $4 million. Or the 1943 copper penny that brought in over $1 million. The key is rarity, condition, and collector frenzy. If a one-of-a-kind 2007 P nickel surfaced, let's say a coin struck on a gold planchet, or a confirmed transitional error, or a perfectly preserved ultra-rare die variety that had never been seen before, that coin could absolutely spark a bidding war at auction, especially if certified as authentic and unique. We live in a time when high-end coin collectors are willing to pay premium prices for standout pieces. So here's what you should do. Check your change. Look through your coin jars. If you find a 2007 P Jefferson nickel, examine it carefully. Use a magnifier. Look for full steps on the Monticello. Inspect both sides for doubling. Check for off-center strikes, odd weights, wrong metal color, or unusual rims. If you find anything that looks out of place, get the coin professionally graded. You might be sitting on a hidden gem. Even if your coin isn't worth $1 million, it could still be worth hundreds or thousands depending on its characteristics. And remember, coin values can fluctuate based on market trends, collector demand, and even new discoveries. Coins that are common today could become rare tomorrow if new varieties are identified or mint records reveal production anomalies. So don't dismiss the humble nickel, especially the 2007 P Monticello Jefferson nickel. It might just be the golden ticket hiding in your couch cushions. 2014 D Mint Mark Jefferson nickel. That's right. A coin you may have in your pocket or tucked away in a drawer right now could be worth up to $1 million or more depending on its condition, rarity, and special attributes. So stay tuned, because in this video, we're diving deep into what makes this seemingly ordinary coin so extraordinary. We'll look at the mintage, key features to look out for, high auction prices, and what makes some of these nickels so valuable in today's market. This could seriously change your life. Let's start with the basics. The Jefferson nickel has been a staple of American coinage since 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. In 2014, the Denver Mint struck millions of these coins. In fact, over 450 million of them. That makes it sound pretty common, right? But here's the twist: within that sea of coins, there are a few extremely rare varieties and error coins that make all the difference. The 2014 D nickel features the classic portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello, his famous home, on the reverse. But not all of these coins were created equal. Some left the mint with unusual traits that collectors will pay a premium for. Let's talk about what actually makes one of these coins worth thousands or even millions. First, error coins. Some of the most valuable nickels are error coins. That includes double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and die cracks. If you find a 2014 D Jefferson nickel with a visible double die on the obverse, especially around the words "In God We Trust" or "Liberty," you're looking at a coin that could fetch serious money. Second, full steps. This is a big one. The Monticello building on the reverse has steps leading up to it. If your 2014 D nickel has full, sharp steps with no wear and perfect detail, especially if it's graded in high mint state like MS67 or MS68 by PCGS or NGC, then it's a premium coin. One recently sold for thousands at auction just because of those full steps and a flawless strike. And then, there's the holy grail, extremely rare mint errors combined with high grades. We're talking about coins that might have been struck on the wrong planchet, or had major striking issues, or a wildly misaligned die. These types of combinations are where the million-dollar value comes into play. If only a handful of examples exist, or if you find a new, undiscovered variety, the value skyrockets. Let's look at the numbers. A normal 2014 D. Jefferson nickel in circulated condition is worth face value 5 cents. But a high-grade example with full steps can go for hundreds. One sold for over $800 in MS67 with full steps. Now imagine combining that grade with a major error. There was a 2014 D nickel that sold for over $2,000 because it had an incredible off-center strike. Another went for nearly $5,000 because it had a partial collar error with a pristine full-step strike. And those are just the ones we know about. Imagine if a double-denomination 2014 D nickel turned up like one struck on a dime planchet or quarter planchet. That could hit 5 or even 6 figures instantly. And now take that a step further. What if someone discovers a brand new variety that no one's documented before? What if that coin is graded perfectly, has a dramatic error, and is the only one of its kind? That's how million-dollar coins are born. Now here's what to do. Grab a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe and examine the obverse and reverse carefully. Look at Jefferson's face, the inscriptions, and especially the steps on Monticello. Look for any doubling, misalignments, or odd details, and next, check the edges. Are they clean, or are there signs of an error like a clipped planchet or misstrike? Any unusual shape or thickness could be a major clue. And finally, condition is everything. Coins with no scratches, no signs of wear, and perfect luster are worth much more. If you find a potential winner, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Their certification can multiply your coin's value. You might think, why would someone pay that much for a nickel? It's about rarity, condition, and history. Collectors around the world are constantly looking for the next big find. And sometimes, what looks like an ordinary coin turns out to be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. There are people who've paid for college, bought cars, and even homes with a single coin they found in pocket change. So what are you waiting for? Check your change, search your coin jars, and go through your old rolls. The next million-dollar nickel might be sitting right in front of you. And if you found this video helpful or interesting, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more hidden treasure content. We post weekly videos about rare coins, bills, and collectibles that could be worth a fortune. Share this with a friend so they can check their change too. You never know who might get lucky. You drop a comment if you've ever found a rare coin or want help identifying one. We read every single comment and love helping fellow collectors.